every battle has its turning point. That single moment where all the chaos, all the violence crystallizes into something unmistakable, fate revealing itself. For Rimuru, that moment came not through his fists, nor through raw magic, but through a voice. The voice of Ciel. Think about this. Until now, Raphael was nothing more than a tool, a flawless system. Cold, efficient, mechanical. Useful, yes, but distant. Rimuru gave it a name, almost as a whim, and in that careless generosity, everything changed. Ciel was born. No longer an assistant, no longer just an analysis engine, but a partner. A mind in sync with his own, sharper than any blade, colder than any storm, and more terrifying than any enemy. Rimuru himself admits it, with a kind of quiet awe. Even Velgrynd, who seemed so overwhelming to me, was no match for it. That single sentence should stop you cold. A true dragon, overwhelming even demon lords, undone not by brute force, but by Ciel's foresight. Because here lies the brilliance. Ciel didn't just fight Velgrynd, it baited her, allowed her to burn through her strength with cardinal acceleration. Then it waited, calculated, and turned her greatest weapon, parallel existence, into nothing more than a liability. What Velgrynd believed was her escape route was actually the cage snapping shut. It's easy to call this calculation, strategy, but no. Rimuru sees it for what it really is, manipulation of the battlefield itself, as if Ciel could glimpse the future. And here's the unsettling truth. Velgrynd's parallel existence, this technique thought to be infallible, isn't. Against weaklings, yes, it dominates. But against an equal? Against someone guided by Ciel? It's not victory, it's just insurance. A false sense of invincibility waiting to be pierced. And yet, what might terrify anyone else fills Rimuru with something different. Pride, gratitude, the knowledge that he is no longer alone in his choices, in his judgment. That's my partner for you. Now I was more impressed with Ciel than ever. Those words mark a shift. Rimuru no longer sees Ciel as a creation, but as an equal, a reflection of himself that elevates him beyond what he could ever be alone. With Velgrynd locked down, a narrow window opens, 200 seconds, just long enough for Rimuru to turn toward the true objective. Veldora. Here the tone changes. The rage burning against Ludora is still there, but it's not what drives him. It's something quieter, more dangerous. Resolve. Release Veldora, then defeat Ludora. Those were my objectives, and it's what I wanted to do, not just because Guy asked me to. The line matters. This is not obligation, this is not duty, this is Rimuru's choice. But Veldora isn't himself. His free will has been shackled, forced into servitude under Ludora's command. Rimuru knows what this means. It isn't charm, it isn't total domination. It's coercion, a cruel suppression of free will, not its erasure. And that single insight sparks hope. Because if Veldora's spirit isn't destroyed, then it can still be reached. Hope, however, is not mercy. The Storm Dragon's fury explodes around him. Attacks fall like natural disasters, endless and merciless. And here, Ciel becomes Rimuru's shield. The battlefield turns into an eye of the hurricane, space carved out where Rimuru can advance. Reinforcement floods through the food chain, the strength of his allies flowing into him. All of it pushing him forward toward the friend trapped inside the monster. Finally, face to face, Rimuru shouts, "Sorry to keep you, Veldora. Do you recognize me?" The answer is only a roar. The claws and storms do not stop. So Rimuru does the unthinkable. He fights his friend. Fists, kicks, blows that shatter mountains, not to kill, but to awaken. Close range, where Veldora's catastrophic techniques mean less. Every strike a desperate plea. Remember me. But then the battlefield shifts again, in a way Rimuru could not have foreseen. A voice rings out, deep and booming with that same ridiculous arrogance. "Quahaha! Just a little mistake on my part. Forgive me." It is unmistakable, the real Veldora. His core had detached, surviving intact, conscious even as his body rages out of control. Relief floods Rimuru, quickly followed by frustration. Because Veldora, even now, cannot help himself. Offering commentary, misnaming his own attacks, making a joke out of catastrophe. And Rimuru, exasperated, fires back. "It wouldn't be very funny if I trusted random nonsense from you at this critical moment and it killed me, would it?" It's maddening. And yet, it's everything Rimuru needed. Because it means his friend is still alive in there. Still himself. And then comes the truth. The bond between them, the soul corridor that tied their existences together. It wasn't Ludora who cut it. It was Veldora. His choice. To protect Rimuru from being dragged down with him. Careless, yes, but undeniably selfless. That changes everything. If the core is intact, then so too is Veldora's ultimate skill, Lord of the Storm. It can be restored. Ciel confirms it with clinical confidence. Once a soul corridor is reconnected to Veldora's core, the ultimate ability can be restored. The solution is brutal in its elegance. Consume the corrupted body, reclaim the core, rebuild from there. And so, Rimuru makes his choice. He turns to Belzebuth. What began as the simplest slime skill, a trick of predation, has evolved into something monstrous, something capable of consuming even a true dragon. With the clock ticking down and only 3 minutes left, Rimuru steels himself. Consume it all, Belzebuth! But this is no easy victory. To consume Veldora's body means agony. His vast form burns with energy that tears Rimuru apart, ripping through his slime body even as he gnaws his way inward. It becomes a primal contest, predator against storm, the will to consume against the will to annihilate. Every moment is pain. Ciel does not waver. Cold, efficient, relentless. It optimizes Rimuru's body into an ever-shifting, viscous net wrapping around the storm dragon. Piece by piece, inch by inch, the consumption begins. From Veldora's perspective, Rimuru is still a speck, but a speck that will not yield. And here lies the first revelation. Through this devouring, Ciel uncovers something greater than survival. Something staggering, the possibility for Rimuru himself to transform into a true dragon, to remake his body into one that no longer suffers this agony, to become Veldora's equal, not his prey. Ciel offers it, blunt and without hesitation. So, would you like to evolve into a true dragon? Yes, no. Rimuru's answer isn't calm. It isn't thoughtful. It bursts out of him, manic and ecstatic, almost a dark laughter. Yes! And in that instant, the pain ceases. The burning stops. The tearing ends. His body, once dissolving under Veldora's aura, now radiates with one of its own. His magicules surge, balance restored, existence stabilized. He is no longer consuming against resistance. He is consuming as an equal. No, more than equal. His magicules rise until they match Veldora's, and then surpass them. A new true dragon is born. Veldora, of course, can only laugh, boisterous and proud. You have won, Rimuru. I am rather surprised to see you become a true dragon, but it seems my eyes never deceived me after all. But Rimuru knows there is no time for pride. The task is not yet finished. The puppet dragon before him is not his friend. It is an insult bearing his name. And so, with his voice thundering like judgment itself, he commands, "Consume it all, Belzebuth." What follows is no battle. It is annihilation. The storm dragon's body collapses before him, torn apart piece by piece, devoured by inevitability itself. The eater and the eaten, predator and prey. Until at last, the resistance falters, and only the brilliance of leaking energy remains. The battlefield floods with light. Not the light of destruction, but of rebirth, a blessing forged through agony. Rimuru's old self dissolves into energy, reshaped, reborn. The vessel that once enslaved Veldora collapses, and in that collapse, freedom is born. The storm ends, the trap has sprung. The timing, the foresight, the precision, it was all Ciel's design. But the choice, the will, the heart, it was Rimuru's. Together, they achieved what seemed impossible. Not just victory, but transcendence. And now, with Veldora's core secured and his own existence ascended beyond all limits, Rimuru Tempest stands not only as a demon lord, not only as a partner to a true dragon, but as one himself. And this is only the beginning.